Audio is. We're going to go live on YouTube now as well. All right, good. We're also live on YouTube. I can see on YouTube we have Farah, we have Mars. Oh, hi Beej. We have Beej. Perfect. Everyone is here. Ali, you have access to live chat?
I do.
Perfect. Okay, I'm seeing I have the Facebook live chat in case anybody says something here. Let us know how the audio is, everyone. Mars is saying, okay, great. Chris, hello, everyone. Okay, cool. So we're going to be discussing the latest news on religion and atheism and secularism all around the world. But before we do that, happy Atheist Day, everyone. Today's Atheist Day, March 23rd. Paula is saying, I hear you. Yuba is saying, hola. Hi, guys. Happy Atheist Day. This was such a great day. There were so many posts from all around the world, people having events, people posting their pictures with the Atheist Day symbol. Yeah, it was so good to, like, I think, and Richard Dawkins posted about it. Drew from Genetically Modified Skeptic. There a lot of people posted about Atheist Day. And this was, by the way, for the people that don't know that today is Atheist Day, this is a day that that was selected to, normalize atheism, for more people to know that there are atheists out there, and it's okay. You can, the people that you didn't know that are atheists, like if more and more people like use this day to let other people know that they're atheists, it just helps make it not that big of a deal that, people that are religious might realize like, oh, this person that I like is atheist, or that person is atheist. Maybe, make it normal, make it less demonized or less of a big deal. So happy Atheist Day, everyone. Ali, you wanted to mention something.
Absolutely. So, on this awesome Atheist Day, we are making an announcement towards moving towards our own movement of sorts. And we have a declaration of our movement, and I wanted to read that for everybody who'd be interested in joining with us on this. And so, yeah, here it is. Declaration of the Atheist Republic Movement. Members united under our republic have been fighting against dogma, fighting against superstition, and fighting against discrimination. While facing hatred, we fight abandonment and castigation. We are calling upon people to stand with us wherever you are on this planet and become our own movement, the Atheist Republic Movement. For centuries, humanity has been searching for significance and belonging. Its earliest attempts were primitive yet illuminating. Our solutions grew deep roots in our culture and identity, roots so deep that stood firm against change in the face of better solutions based on better understandings of our minds and our universe. Wrong answers to legitimate questions gain legitimacy, give authority, and become tools in the hands of people and systems with agendas different from these solutions that were originally in response to. Questioning the legitimacy of these answers were punished as blasphemy. The Atheist Republic has been a refuge for those who have dared question these answers and come in form of gods in heaven and totalitarian authorities on earth. Now we have grown large enough to push back. Now we plan not only to stand against bad ideas, but to also stand for the good ones. We're building a global community of Atheist Republic members who will support and protect their fellow members and openly declare their values we stand against and the ones we stand for as a movement. We're tired of playing defense. It's time to go on the offense. We stand against gods, dogma, and superstition. We stand for the right for Enlightenment values, values that gave many of us our rights and freedoms we take for granted. Values are not based on ancient scriptures, revelations, or divine authority. Values that have proven to work. Values that have brought millions out of misery. We fight for a second age of enlightenment, not for the West or the East, but for the entire planet. We call upon everyone who wants to stand for these values to stand with us. History has proven that silence cannot solve injustice. There's a price to pay for passivity. Become a member of the Atheist Republic Movement. Fight for values that'll better lives.
Right. So we basically, Atheist Republic has, for the past 15 years, has been a place where atheists come and find each other and meet each other, either offline or online. We have offline activity, all around the world, and we're now the world's largest atheist group out there. And now, basically, with this declaration, what we're doing is we're taking it to the next phase, we're actually going to become a political movement, right? And what we are doing with this is that we are going to have people like you joining us with this movement. So there are going to be way for us. We have a lot of plans. We're going to go into details later. But if you go to atheistrepublic.com, you will be able to subscribe to our newsletter so that we let you know what exactly we are going to be doing and how you could get involved. In the link in the description of this video on YouTube, at least, there's also a link to subscribing to our newsletter if you guys want to keep remain updated. I know a lot of people might say like, but that's not atheism. You guys are standing for values now instead of just being atheists. That's like, this is not atheism. Again, we have to always remind people, we don't. Atheist Republic does not represent atheism. Atheist Republic represents Atheist Republic. We are not just atheists. We are a group of atheists that are decided to do something. We are the group of atheists that are standing up for certain values. We never claimed to be representative of atheism. There are many other atheist movements out there, and they all have different goals. And this is our goal. Our goal with this political movement is to protect atheists worldwide, find a way for us to support each other against harm, against people that wish harm against atheists just simply because they don't believe, and also to become cheerleaders of certain values. Values that basically we will determine together as a community with the help of experts that could identify the values that, based on data, we can show that it has benefited humanity. Like not based on scripture, not based on revelation, not based on divine authority, based on data, based on evidence, values that increases well-being for conscious being and reduces misery. So this is going to be us, Ali, me, and Roy, and a couple other people. We are going to take this declaration, and we are going to be going all around the world, and we are going to take this to a whole other level. It's not just going to be content creation. I mean, that's all going to be there. So we're still going to have the activities that we had before. We are going to have bring content for you. We are also going to keep giving voice to atheists around the world, where especially those people that their voices need to be heard and they're asking for help, asking for support. We are going to keep amplifying their voices. We are still going to talk against religion and dogma, but now we are going to ask for our rights. We are going to ask for protection. We are going to basically politically and legally fight back against people that wish us harm. And we are also going to introduce people. For more than 10 years, we have stood against ideas that we thought that were problematic. Ideas like religion, dogma, superstition. But now we're taking it to a phase that we also want to stand for certain ideas that we know that has proven to work based on evidence and data. Anyway, so look out for that. Again, so if you want to know how you could become involved in this movement, just subscribe to our newsletter, and we will, as soon as we when you subscribe to our newsletter, you get other things as well. Like, for example, these videos, when they come out, you get that in your newsletter. But once we have a way for you to get involved in this movement, we will also let you know. We'll also email you about that one. Anything that we need to... Why so late today? Okay. All right, cool. Anything we need to read before we go on the first news? Oh yeah, I see Miles is saying Atheist Republic is a puppet of the Jewish globalist. We must stand against that and defend Western values against foreign Muslim import. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for showing that religion is not the only source of nonsense, and this is exactly why we do more than just speak against religion. Anyways, Ali, did you want to add anything before we go to the first news?
No, I say let's just jump into it.
Okay, let's just.
Okay, this is in Indonesia. 5 couples publicly whipped in Indonesia for cuddling and holding hands. On Thursday, a group of unmarried couples were whipped in Indonesia's Aceh province after they were caught behaving amorously by religious police. It is a crime under the conservative religion's Islamic law. 5 couples flogged received between 4 and 22 strokes from a cane outside of a mosque. It is the only province in the world's biggest Muslim-majority country that imposes Islamic law.
Okay. So the crime was this, they just hold hands and they were cuddling?
So a few of them were doing different things. For these couples specifically, this time it wasn't anything major. They have had in the past in the same province where couples would be caught having sex or something, bigger. And for that, they'd receive like 100 strokes. So, yeah, these couples were just showing affection towards each other.
Jesus Christ. And again, people remind us that not all of Indonesia is like this. This is only one specific province.
Yes, and to be fair, they have spoken out against this province, asking them to stop doing this because public flogging is so barbaric, and they've just refused to stop.
Is there anything that could be done other than just speaking out against it? Like, is there anything the international community could pressure Indonesia to be? I mean, they must have signed some human rights, declarations in UN or something. Like, can't we, like, is there something that can be, like, this just keeps happening, and every time it happens, we just have another news like, hey, Indonesia is something stupid, Islamic, again, like something stupid, and we just then move on, and then like again, Indonesia, lesbian couple got arrested or couples got arrested, and then again, like, is there, like, do you know of any like significant pushback, international pushback against this? Like, can somebody from Indonesia tell us, like, is Indonesia itself, people, are there secular groups or some human rights groups in Indonesia trying to do something about this? Ali, do you know anything about this?
The only thing I know is that even in their own country, their own president has asked this specific region to stop. So I mean, they've been getting, even from their own country, they've been told to stop doing this.
Yeah, but just people asking stop. That's about it.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce the name of this province? I always like AC.
Did I might have mispronounced it. I pronounced it as Aceh.
Aceh? Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
ACEH. But Pakistani Atheist is saying this area suffered significantly due to the 2001 tsunami. The people thought it was a result of Allah punishing them for not being pious enough. So, has it become more Islamic because of the tsunami? Like, is that what you're saying, Pakistani Atheist? What is this? Somebody else is saying, talking about worldwide, I ask you to pay some attention to okay, but guys, if you make a comment, please leave your comments specifically about the news that we're covering. If you have suggestions for us to cover other news, just once the live streaming is over, just leave it as a comment and suggest other news for us to cover. But please keep your comments about the news that we're talking about. Let me see.
I think someone is saying that it's pronounced Ashe.
Ashe? Okay. Adam is saying, so it's wrong to display love and affection in public, but it's okay to display violence against another. Oh, that's a very good point, Adam. Dave is saying, do they have oil? We could bring them some democracy. Okay. Matt is saying, man, my mind went... no, never mind. Andy is saying, 50 Shades of Allah. Okay. Again, that's not my joke. This is just the top comments. Another person is saying, religion again, poisoning everything. This is coming to Canada. No, it's not! Again, I always see comments like this. People say, this is coming to Canada. No, it's not coming to Canada. Jesus. Okay, you can talk about things being problematic in Canada when it comes to immigration or whatever without exaggerating the problem. Nobody's going to take you seriously if you exaggerate it this much. This is victim, trying to compete in being the victim. People see, again, I have to mention this every time. There's always a comments like this. People in the US or Canada saying some other people winning in being the greatest victim, and they can't have it. They always have to be the greatest victim. So we're like, oh, Republicans would do the same thing. Oh, this is going to be the U.S. in 50 years from now. No, it's not going to be. And no, Republicans, as bad as the religious nut jobs are in the United States, it's not as bad as Islamic countries, and it will never be as bad. I mean, very unlikely that it will ever be as bad as Islamic countries. So stop exaggerating your problems. You can still point out the problems in your country without actually acting like it's the worst thing ever. All right. Okay, cool. Should we go to the next news?
Yes, next news out of Canada. Calgary University cancels event by ex-Muslims, citing sensitivity after New Zealand attacks. In light of the shooting last week in New Zealand, Mount Royal University canceled Armin Navabi's event entitled The Case Against Islamic Reform, on where he was scheduled to deliver a talk critical of Islam. This was hosted as part of a speaker series organized by the Atheist Society of Calgary. Armin says he's disappointed he won't get a chance to engage in some passionate discussions with staff and students, including those who practice Islam, because MRU's last-minute decision. His talk was quickly moved to C-Space, a South Calgary arts hub. So, Armin, this is about you. Tell us what happened.
I don't know. I don't want to get into too much detail, but these things backfire all the time. I don't really know why they do this. Like, they deplatformed me, and we had the event at somewhere else, and because of the platforming of the event, it got shitload more attention. Like it always, this is what always happens. You deplatform people, and they get more attention because of it. So why do you even try to deplatform people? Like, have they not seen how this works? Every single time when you try to, reduce attention from a certain kind of speech, all you do is just make it more louder. So I mean, I'm glad that it doesn't work. I'm glad that every time they try to do this, they just end up bringing more attention to it. But I just wonder what are they thinking? Like, have they not followed what the pattern is when something like this happens?
You'd think that they'd be excited about it, because if you were to go there and speak and they saw you as some sort of a hateful person, or you are being rude or disrespectful to the event that just followed in New Zealand, they could go there and now you've offered them a platform to speak simply because you're speaking. So I would think that having you be there would be exciting for those people that want to argue against you.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, so we talked about this. There was a shooting in New Zealand, and it was fucking tragic, and it was barbaric, and we called it out. And we have been calling out, mistreatments of Muslims at other times as well, like even when other people seem to not be paying attention, like in China or in Yemen. We always call it out whenever, and I think we have news today that we're also calling some other things that happen against Muslims that other people don't seem to be paying that much attention to. So it's weird that they think we are the bigots here and that we should be the platform, and we are somehow responsible for the New Zealand attacks just because we speak against Islam. But it's the hypocrisy is that everybody would recognize. So imagine, I mean, you don't have to imagine, it happens a lot, but imagine if there was another Islamic terrorist attack, and there was a Muslim speaker trying to speak at an event, and they just deplatformed the Muslim speaker because there was an Islamic terror attack somewhere else in the world. Like, how dumb would that be? I mean, that's ridiculous. It's like, hey, there's an imam speaking at our event, but we had an Islamic terror attack, so maybe we should cancel the event. Like, what the obviously that's ridiculous. And most people would recognize how ridiculous that would be. So it's as ridiculous to cancel an event for a critic of Islam to be speaking because there's an attack on Muslims somewhere else, especially us, which we call that attack on Muslims all the time. I mean, this is exactly the kind of reactions that these terrorists are looking for. They want less dialogue, more finger pointing, more hatred. They want disagreements to lead to hatred. We think disagreements are just that, disagreements. And the more we talk about our disagreement, the more we're normalizing disagreeing. We think that we are able to get along with people that we disagree with. We think we could be friends with people that we disagree with. And the more openly and passionately we talk about it and and at the same time get along with people that we disagree with, the more we're making disagreements not that, not lead to hate. The more people remove dialogue, the more people silence each other, the more people, think that, the more they are suggesting that for us to get along, this is a very dangerous suggestion. The suggestion that for us to get along, we need to tone down our disagreements, suggests that our disagreements mean we hate each other. And this is something that helps both regressive leftists and the bigots, because they both benefit from our hatred, and they both reduce relevancy with more dialogue. In face of attacks like this, we need more dialogue because we need to normalize disagreements. Anyways,
very well said.
Thank you. Pakistani Atheist is saying, nice photo, Armin. Oh, thank you. It's my wedding photo. Mars is saying, Armin, not to defend their positions, but did the cancellation happen more because nerves were still raw after New Zealand or because they snowflakey? I mean, that's the same thing, I guess. I mean, it's not, nerves we're still raw. What does that even mean? Like, how does this is, okay, again, my example, imagine if there was an Islamic terror attack, all right, and then be like, we're still, this is too soon, let's cancel all Muslim speakers all around the world, because Muslim speakers, like, is basically, this is Islam and this was an Islamic terror attack, so just cancel these events. I mean, this is exactly the kind of reaction that these terrorists would want you to have. It's just absolutely nonsense. And again, cancellation of the event didn't achieve what they wanted to, because it just got a lot more press and coverage. I got contacted by so many reporters wanting me to, like, I went on radio, on TV. It was crazy. So don't even try deplatforming people, because it will have the opposite effect. Let me see what the top comment is. Eugene is saying, yes, it's a tragedy, but this level of pandering is getting really stupid. I mean, where was the cancellation of events when the... okay, another thing I need to point out is that these people that act like, oh, well, it's a tragedy, we need to defend Muslims. Yeah, we need to defend Muslims against harm. But where were you guys when China put around 1 million people in concentration camps? Like, these people... You never talked about these things, right? I mean, you should talk about the New Zealand attack. We should talk more about the New Zealand attack. We should try to bring attention to it and try to find ways to prevent it, of course. But where the fuck were you guys when United States was selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia was dropping it on innocent Muslims, civilians, and using starvation as a way to, as a weapon against civilian children in Yemen? We have thousands of Muslims being killed there, millions being put in, suffering under starvation, and none of you guys talked about it. None of these people that pretend to care about Muslims ever talked about it. It's just they want to talk about this one because it was a white supremacist who did it, because that feeds into their narrative, But it doesn't feed into the narrative when China does it. So you guys don't give a shit about Muslims. We just care about winning political points. Hey, okay. So,
looks like Christy made it. Hi, Christy.
Hey, Christy. BJ and Christy, we have admins on. Okay. Let me see. So does this mean terrorism works? Yeah, Andy. Apparently that's what it means. Anyways. Okay. Should we go to the next news?
Okay. In Massachusetts, USA, an inexcusable act, 59 graves vandalized at Hebrew Cemetery in Massachusetts, police say.
What the hell?
In Massachusetts, dozens of graves at Fall River Cemetery were recently vandalized with swastikas and anti-Semitic graffiti. Gravestones were defaced using a black marker, and some were pushed over. So, yeah. This is a pretty strange crime. they're labeling it as a hate crime. So, they're still investigating it, but it looks like there was some flyers and stuff thrown around there that were kind of anti-Semitic, Semitic, and so, and then like a week later, they ended up getting, you know, all of these gravestones with markers marked on them. Some of them even said, one of them even said, "Oy vey, this is MAGA country." Yeah, and there were swastikas and everything else. So, this is a pretty disgusting attack against. I don't understand why anyone would think vandalizing a cemetery with dead people would be the best way to go about getting any sort of point across.
Okay, let's just also be careful. Like this is either a bunch of alt-right, anti-Jewish people doing this, or very low chance, but still a chance, like, or some people from regressive left that just want to become more relevant, right? I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but you know, just in case the news comes out like a week from now that they cut the guy and it wasn't even an anti-Semite, it was like these people.
You're gonna look like a genius.
No, no, I'm just saying, even if there's a 1% chance, like I just want to make sure that we say that there's a chance that is that, so that people are like, you guys just believe the news without waiting. Like, no, we always know that there's a chance that the news that is being reported that is not actually what we think happened. Okay. But Occam Razor suggests that no, this is actually an anti-Semitic attack. You know, probably not 100% sure, right? But and obviously, I mean, and this is, but a lot of people like don't understand how, you know, because of the regressive left calling everything racist. A lot of people, so the regressive left was an overcorrection to some legitimate problems, right? Like racism is a problem, homophobia is a problem. There's a lot of problems that liberal values were being promoted as a reaction to, but the regressive left represents some overcorrection to a lot of, you know, real issues, right? But what I think is now, because of the regressive left, there's going to be also overcorrection on the other side, because I think a lot of people now think that they don't take racism seriously anymore, because they think it's all just made up and it doesn't exist and it's not that big of a deal. But it is. Like, you know, hatred of Jewish people is ancient. It's not just Nazis. It existed before Nazism, and if you start, you know, following these accounts and, you know, going to the places that they are, as I have, this is a huge community. It's a very strong community of people that believe in conspiracy theories, that believe the Jews are trying to control everything and they are trying to take over all the world. And it's a huge problem. And you can't. People think like, oh, it's people like Trump are bringing it back. No, these people were always there. They're just in the shadows. It's huge and it's very strong. And once you start going into their circles, you can see how big of a deal it is. And it's a problem because bigot and racist and anti-Semite these terms have been used so loosely and so without hesitation that a lot of people are not even taking it seriously anymore. But these things exist, and it's a cancer that needs to be dealt with. And actually, one thing I'm doing, I'm flying to Poland tomorrow. I'm gonna go visit Auschwitz. One thing I'm gonna try to be doing is that, again, like I said, we don't just tackle religion. I think like this anti-Jewish hatred, like this is of a cult of itself, and one of the main themes in this cult is denying the Holocaust, right? So I'm trying to like cover that as well. I'm gonna go. And the interesting thing is that once I go and start covering why, like, to show evidence for the Holocaust and show that it's real, I mean, a lot of our followers are like, well, of course, I mean, we know the Holocaust was real. But I can bet you that once I start tapping into that and start covering that, you will see the community of the anti-Semites. They will come at you, and they will come at you. And I think the fact that they come at you and start commenting and start spamming your live chat and everything, that itself is a wake-up call to the people that think this is not a big deal, that anti-Semitic views is not that big of a deal. Because when the flood of them, when you start posting content like that, the content itself might not be very interesting to our followers because they already know the Holocaust is real, but the flood of reactions that you might get to it might wake up a lot of people that think that this is not a big deal. Let me see what the top comment is. Karen is saying, "What the fuck? I do not understand modern anti-Semitism. What is the point of doing that? It's not modern. It's just coming out of the shadows." Karen. But okay, Karen continues to show us their chicken shit presence with totally childish stunts like graffiti and cemetery trashing. They need to get a life. I wish it was that easy, Karen. That's not how you tackle these ideas. But yeah, I wish as well. David saying there is a Trump. These are Trump's people in action. Again, I don't know if people understand how ancient this view is. This anti-Jewish hatred is as old as Abrahamic religions. This is not something new. This is an ancient beast that needs to be addressed the same way religion is addressed. Anything you want to add, Ellie?
No.
Guys, if you're making recommendations to us, again, we're talking about, just make sure your comments is about the news. Oh, by the way, another thing I wanted to point out is that anti-Jewish views is very common in Muslim communities as well. So that a lot of people shy away from saying that, but it's a huge problem in the Muslim communities. All right, so we should go to the next news.
All right. Politician who fought against mandatory chickenpox vaccine contracts chickenpox.
Oh, what the hell? Okay.
Massimiliano Federica, a senior member of the far-right Northern League Party, is now trying to combat a disease as well as the world since of Schadenfreude. He insists he's not an anti-vaxxer, only that he didn't like the government mandate on vaccinations. Dr. Berto Burioni, who runs a website called medicalfacts.it, said Federica was lucky things were not worse, and it is good his own children are vaccinated. So I just want to add to this as well that he is adamant about the fact that he's not an anti-vaxxer, but he claims that the government forcing, and we actually discussed this last week in Italy, where they're forcing parents to vaccinate their children. He's saying that doing such is Stalin-like, and that he doesn't think that the government should have any say on whether or not parents vaccinate their children. But this is the same kind of arguments that we saw from many other people, and as the article pointed out, it's the very Jenny McCarthy type stance. That to say that you're not an anti-vaxxer, you just don't believe that anyone should tell you that you have to vaccinate your children. Bullshit. Well, yeah, you should have to vaccinate your children. And if you don't know that on your own, then I guess the government does need to tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that a lot of people think like, oh, it's my children, the government doesn't have a say. The thing is that you don't own your children, okay? Just because your children came out of you doesn't mean that you could do whatever you want with them, all right? The thing is, like, for example, if you start beating your children, right, and the government steps in, like, okay, we're taking your kids away from you because you're beating the shit out of them, like, you can't say, like, well, they're my children, I can do whatever I want. No, you don't get to do that. They're humans. They're little humans that need protection, and apparently they need protection from their own parents, right? So this idea that government can't say anything about what to do with children, that's nonsense. And also, government already says, for example, that children have to get certain level of education, right? So yeah, if a parent decides like, nope, I'm not gonna educate my kids, there's no people. I don't make that argument like, well, you're the parent, you can do whatever you want. Like the thing is that children need protection from parents sometimes. Like if the parents are not educating their children, the government gets involved. You're putting your kids at a disadvantage, and you don't get to do that to people just because they share some DNA with you. And this is, again, vaccines again. If you want to put your own kids at harm's way because you're not vaccinating them, this is, again, the government needs to step in, because you have decided that you're a shitty parent and you are risking your children's lives. And again, just because you own them, just because they're your kids, doesn't mean you own them. And the government needs to come protect these kids from you. But I do want to tell people to be careful not to be happy that this person got sick. Don't ever wish people harm because they're wrong, right? I mean, it's very tempting because it's very ironic that he got the same disease that he was like telling people that the government shouldn't get involved in. But again, if you're happy about this, just remember that you're happy that somebody got a disease, and that's not I don't know. I feel like that's not something you should be happy about. I mean, there are better ways of making your point than wishing people harm. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some jokes here. But did you want to add anything before I read the comments?
No, it's just to touch on that point. It's kind of the same thing. Like when this stuff happens, and it's ironic, and it might be funny to giggle at, but to be happy that somebody had harm brought upon them, kind of reminds me of the New Zealand attack that we were discussing last week. It's not people can have different views. You don't need to wish them harm. It sucks.
Actually, here, one of the comments from John is, hope he suffers. Yeah, I know I'm not a nice he's saying, no, I know I'm not a nice person, but he bloody well deserves it. No, people don't deserve to suffer because they're wrong. Because I'm sure we're wrong. I'm sure all of us here are wrong about something, okay? I'm pretty sure this person, even though he's very, very wrong about his view, I think, he doesn't wish children harm. Like, he doesn't go out and think like, I hope kids get diseases. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Like, he thinks he believes in something that helps humanity. He's not trying to harm people. So he's wrong about something. He doesn't deserve to suffer for it. All of us are wrong about something. Do you think that, John, the fact that you wish this person harm, do you think you're not wrong about something? Do you think that you don't have any ideas that if it was implemented, it might actually harm humanity instead of helping it? Do you think you deserve to suffer because of the wrong ideas that you have? I'm pretty sure you don't think that every idea that you have is right. Anyways, Nicholas saying, it's ironic he could save others from chickenpox vaccine, but not himself from the actual illness. I don't know at that point. Okay. Anyways, should we go? Let me see if there's any. Okay, should we go to the next news?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Next news. Pakistani lawmaker claims women's march was anti-Islamic. Earlier this month.
This is Women's March in Pakistan, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Women's march in Pakistan.
Okay.
So earlier this month, Pakistani women carried posters demanding women's rights, attacking Pakistan's patriarchal society and celebrating being single or divorced. The lawmakers in northwestern Pakistan have assailed as anti-Islamic women's marches. A resolution denouncing the marches as shameless and un-Islamic act was adopted on Wednesday, which the women's rights activists condemned. The lawmakers included from Pakistan's ruling party a former cricket star turned prime minister, Imran Khan.
Wait,
and those up.
He was against the Women's March?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Including the left-leaning Pakistan People's Party, now led by the son of ex-premier Banzari Bhutto.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I didn't know there was a Women's March in Pakistan. That's pretty ballsy. Great job.
It's outrageously amazing. I mean, the bravery these women had to stand up and say, you know what, no, we actually deserve some rights too here, and like to stand up against these people. And they clearly pissed some people off, so they definitely got attention. I think it's great.
Wow, good job. These are they getting some support and attention from feminists and you know, in Western countries.
I hope so.
I hope so, because these people need it the most. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Good job. I mean, and it's ridiculous that even the prime minister is speaking against it. What the hell? Like, and actually, it's a good thing because they're saying it's anti-Islam, right?
Right.
This helps people in Pakistan move away from Islam. Like, if you're saying women just going out there and asking for their rights is anti-Islam, it's going to make more people in Pakistan say, well, okay, well then fuck Islam, right?
Right.
So it's a very, I mean, people say like, we insult Islam. Well, I think these people in Pakistan are insulting Islam more than we are by saying that they're openly declaring that they're standing against women's rights. Yeah, top comment is saying, well, women's rights are anti-Islam. Exactly. Anti-Islam is a good thing. Oh yeah, actually this is an endorsement. So Pakistani lawmakers claim Women's March was anti-Islam. Well, then we better do it more than that. That's an endorsement. Anything that is anti-Islam is a good thing. So people should be proud for being anti-Islam. Anyways, Amanda saying, I'm actually impressed there was even a women's march. Yeah, I'm very impressed too, Amanda. I mean, these women are going out in public. They could be attacked. This is a very scary place to do something like that. These women are heroes, right?
Absolutely.
And again, a lot of people are like, well, some of them are Muslim. Yeah, I mean, we could disagree with people and still admire the great things they do at the same time, right? We don't have to agree with everything somebody believes in for us to be able to congratulate them for other things that they do that we do agree with. William is saying, keep marching, sisters. Mate is saying, yes, it was because Islam is anti-woman. Okay, good. Anything else you want to add on to this before we go to the next news?
No.
Okay.
I'm ready to hop into the next news, but next news is more anti-vax news from Costa Rica. Costa Rica quarantines U.S. anti-vax missionary family who brought measles. A family of anti-vaxxer Christian missionaries from the United States is under quarantine after they brought measles to Costa Rica. 2 parents and 9 children were placed under strict isolation orders after 2 of the kids tested positive for measles. The authorities confirmed that they were unvaccinated. The health ministry believes that the virus was imported to Costa Rica by a United States citizen who left the country March 12th. The country has not had a domestic case of measles since 2006 and had not had a case of imported measles since 2014 until last month when an unvaccinated French boy brought the measles. So,
wait, so people are bringing disease from the United States to Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Jeez. So United States is going so backward in this vaccine situation because of religion and stuff like that people are actually other countries are like
countries in harm's way.
Other countries in harm's way, but people are like, maybe there should be like a U.S. You know how Trump said there's a Muslim ban. Maybe other countries should have like a U.S. ban from tourists from the United States that like don't bring your disease in our country. Wait, where this missionary family? Oh, that explains a lot. So these were a Christian family. There was a missionary family that wanted to bring Jesus to Costa Rica, but they brought measles to Costa Rica instead.
Right.
Jesus.
So they have them in quarantine because 2 of their kids did test positive for measles. And this is a family of 11. It's a huge family.
So they were bringing 2 different kind of diseases to Costa Rica. Christianity and measles. Yeah. Oh my God. And were they anti-vaxxers because of Christianity?
You know, it doesn't say, but I think it's pretty awesome. Costa Rica has actually taken a pretty firm stance against anti-vaxxing.
Good job, Costa Rica. I wish U.S. would follow.
Right.
But do you know if these people were because they were missionary, because they were Christian, that's why they were anti-vaxxers? Was there religious opposition? Probably, right?
But I mean, I would assume so, but it would just be an assumption. I can't say for a fact that it's definitely due to their Christian values. But I mean, obviously everything in their lives revolves around their Christian values. So, and they had visits from like the health department and stuff to come in and look at them and their family and their children. I'm not exactly sure why, but they did. And the issue of non-vaccination wasn't really brought up.
Pablo is saying, I am from Costa Rica and it called my attention that in the You can claim personal motives to avoid basic vaccination for your kids, which is a real threat to public health, since protection of infection depends on the group to be vaccinated as a whole. Exactly. It is important to add that the family is also under observation by National Infant Social Services Agency to evaluate measures of protection to be given in favor of children's rights. Oh, good job. Why is it that the U.S. don't consider public health and children's rights as enough justification to make vaccination mandatory? Yes! See, United States, you have to learn, like, you have your people that were a threat to public health. They went to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica was like, this is an emergency. Like, we need to first put these people in quarantine, and also children's rights. Like, we need to help these children, protect them against their parents. This is how Costa Rica is treating the situation, and you got in the United States, they're like, well, they have religious privileges, so we can't do anything. Like, how this is, United States is supposed to be the most advanced country in the world, and look how backwards they are when it comes to religious issues. Oh my god. Other shots to travel, why not the child? Oh yeah, so Beej is saying they need other shots to travel, why not the childhood ones? Oh, that's a good point. Okay. Ellie, do you want to add anything?
No. Good.
Okay. All right, next news.
South Dakota will now force all public schools to put up We Trust signs.
Wait, say that again. You got cut. Start from the beginning.
That's okay. South Dakota will now force all public schools to put up In God We Trust signs. This is South Dakota in the United States.
Why?
Beginning next school year, South Dakota will require all public schools to display In God We Trust signs in a prominent place after Republican Governor Kristi Noem signed the Senate Bill 55. The House then added a section stating that if displaying the phrase results in a lawsuit, the state attorney general will provide legal representation at no cost to the school district or school board, and the state will assume financial responsibility for any legal expenses related to the lawsuit.
No cost means taxpayer money.
Yep.
This is what your tax money is being spent on. Oh my god. This is how religion is costing people's taxpayer money to spend on legal matters that doesn't need to be there. Holy fuck.
This is just absolute insanity. I mean, we have separation of church and state. We don't need to be bringing God into public schools. This is ridiculous that it's mandatory. They have to prominently display In God We Trust. It used to be, before this bill was passed, it used to be a choice. You could do it. Now this bill is passed saying every single school must display these words prominently in their schools. And if they get sued, then they are going to take all the costs, and the attorney general is going to back them and take their cases. They're going to get sued.
They should get sued, and they should go bankrupt because of it. Is Freedom from Religion?
Cost everybody.
Freedom from Religion Foundation is on top of this?
I'm sure they are. If not, I'm going to send them.
No, I'm sure they are. Yeah. Again, people in the United States, you have no idea how lucky you are to have Freedom from Religion Foundation. They are a gift from God. No, seriously, they are standing in the front line when it comes to religion, spreading in all over your lives and your policies and your government. So you should, anybody in the U.S., they should be very grateful for having the Freedom from Religion Foundation. But a lot of people might say, like, well, this is not a big deal. It's just a sign. In God we trust. It doesn't cost. It doesn't matter. Why should we even fight this? What would you say to that, Ellie?
If it's not a big deal, then why are we forcing it to mandatorily be placed in our schools and placed prominently? I mean, this is one of those things where it's like we eventually get backed up, and we ignore so many arguments because, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Until finally we're just going to be stuck in this corner, and we're going to have so many not that big of a deal issues piled up on us, and it's going to be impossible to fight our way out. Every single one of these little deals is a fight. This is not right. It's absolutely irresponsible of the government to be forcing this as mandatory for all schools, knowing that they're going to be sued. They know this is going to happen, and this is exactly why they went ahead and came up with a plan of what's going to happen when they do get sued.
So the way I'm looking at it is like, imagine you have like a very secure door for, you know, for nobody to be able to come into your house, right? And then there's this somebody that wants to rob your house. They say like, you need to open the door, and just say like, open the door. I'll just take one step in your house, and that's all I'm asking, just one step. But the thing is that the moment you open the door, then there is nothing else stopping them, right? This is the line that you have drawn in the United States. Religion, you don't get to come into government. And they're all saying like, well, let's just cross that line a little bit, just a little bit. But the thing is that once they're on the other side of that line, then they're already on the other side. There's no other line after that. Now they're everywhere. This is why they understand this. And this is why they are so desperate in crossing that line even just a little bit, because as soon as you have even a little bit of a gap for them to get in, there's going to be a flood after that.
Well, absolutely.
You guys have to fight this. You know, this is so important for you guys to fight in the United States. But go on.
It's a sales technique. The psychological term literally is foot in the door.
All right.
And everyone knows that for salesmen, once they get you to open the door, if they can just get you to do one more tiny little thing and one more tiny little thing, before you know it, they have sold you a steak knives set and 10 bottles of window cleaner, that you didn't even need. But it's asking you to do one tiny little thing. Just open the door. Just look at what I've got here. And if they can just keep convincing you finally tell yourself, well, I've gotten this far. What's one more little thing? And absolutely, that's exactly what this is like. There are a whole bunch of little things. And anyone saying, well, this is just so minor, it's not really that big of a deal. You know what? You're kind of right. But the point is, these little deals add up, and they add up, and they add up. And once they start asking for just in the schools, just prominently in schools, who cares? It's a little deal. And then the next thing you know, what are they going to do? Start giving out Bibles to our children? The next thing, are we going to accept a little deal of making a mandatory religion class? I mean, it's just tiny little steps, and you have to fight them.
Yeah. Actually, there's a comment on Facebook which is interesting, because I'm going to add to that. He or she is saying, okay, well, I guess it's time to put up "In Satan We Trust" signs, right? So, but is there any law that says that you can't put signs next to the "In God We Trust" signs?
No.
So
and
if
they're going to be using religious freedom here to allow for this to stand, then I think that anyone else who wants to come forward with any other religion should also be able to request the same right.
So why not just make this backfire? Why not go to schools and say, okay, put the "In God We Trust" up there, and also let's right under it put like Satan, Hail Satan, and other stuff like Flying Spaghetti Monster. Like, just cover that whole, like, make the "In God We Trust" just a small part of a whole bunch of other things. Like, we could have a campaign that promotes that. I don't know. Do we not? I don't know. That would be interesting. If these things if it backfires, I think it would be funny and interesting at the same time. Anyways, should we go to the next news? Hold on.
Next news is terrifying, but let's go to it. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, pedophile priest abused girl age 7 until she vomited, then made her clean up the mess. Beginning next school year. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Sabine Grego, 81, reportedly groomed the youngster while working at the Queen Haven Roman Catholic Church of Albuquerque, New Mexico, by offering her weird black Halloween candy. He was accused of targeting the child around 1990 and 1991 and raped her when she was 8. He would knock her down, then cover her mouth with his hand. At 9 years old, he slammed her face into a table and broke her nose. Hospital records obtained from 1991 show the girl was admitted for a nasal injury around that time. Her allegations were finally reported to police in 2018, with Grego now charged with 1 count of sexual penetration of a minor and coercion resulting in greater bodily harm and mental anguish. Police said he abused her so badly she vomited, then the little girl was made to clean the mess up.
Wow. Jesus Christ. So he's gonna go to. I mean, he got caught. What kind of church is this? Is this Why does this keep happening?
Well, I'll tell you why this keeps happening. This keeps happening because while I don't believe religion itself is to blame for this, I believe that the societies that we get, the cultures that we build around our religious institutions, it absolutely builds a safe haven for people who want to take advantage of children. We build our church culture around trust, and parents trust whenever they go to church that the other adults in that church are good, God-fearing, God-loving people, and they trust that their priests, are also good people. And all of this trust that they build in this culture allows room for bad people to get in. Now, this guy, I do want to point out, has just been charged with a crime. He has not been... Yeah.
Convicted yet? Not convicted yet.
He has not been convicted yet.
So,
he's just been charged.
So that's very important, guys. Like, I know it's tempting to always just assume 100% someone is guilty, especially when the crime is so horrific like this. But it's always important to just keep just one tiny level of skepticism. Just be careful. If it's not if they haven't been convicted, even if it's likely that they're guilty, still just have a tiny level of be a little bit skeptical. Okay. Especially if they're a priest, as atheist activists, you might be tempted to just assume somebody's guilty. Don't fall for that, okay? But yeah, if he is guilty, of course he has to be punished. Ryan is saying, and atheists are immoral for not believing God. Well, if these pricks think we are immoral, we must be truly awful. Olga is saying this is another reason not to attend church. Thomas is saying, and suddenly death penalty looks kind of appealing. Oh, no, not really. I don't agree with that one. But I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this one, but no, I don't support the death penalty. Do you support the death penalty for this guy?
No, I don't.
All right. Doesn't matter how horrific the crimes are. There are some certain standards that we have for civilized society. It gets challenged in times like this, but it's important to maintain those standards even when it's hard. Should we go to the next news? Oh,
yeah.
All right. Next news.
Milo Yiannopoulos' tour in Australia has been cancelled after he made appalling comments about Islam following the Christchurch attack.
Yeah, about Islam or Muslims?
Just against Islam.
Well, that's bullshit. He shouldn't have been cancelled. What did he say?
So the only thing I could see that he said was that he called Islam barbaric and alien.
Which is true.
So he attacked Islam. It wasn't like from anything that was mentioned in this news article anyways, it wasn't like he said anything directly negative about the Muslims that were killed there. He just was talking about Islam.
I mean, it's barbaric, but I don't know what he means by alien. It's very barbaric. It's also very human. Yeah, I don't know what he means by alien, but it's definitely barbaric. I mean, okay, I don't agree with Milo on many things, but on this, he's definitely right. This is bullshit. His tour in Australia has been cancelled. Cancelled by who?
It was actually cancelled by the immigration minister, David Coleman, after he revoked his visa to the country.
Yeah, great. Isn't this exactly what the terrorists predicted and wanted to happen? This kind of knee-jerk reactions. I think it was.
This is the same kind of thing that we were talking about earlier in response to you. Is I just think that this is going to give Milo even more of a platform, and to be honest with you, I kind of hope it does. It's not that I agree with him on hardly anything. I don't. It's just I don't believe that people need to be silenced like this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him on this and what he's saying about Islam. Craig is saying he's only telling the truth about Islam, something or politicians are unable to comprehend how... something our politicians are unable to comprehend to do. Vanya is saying he isn't wrong, though. Yeah, Tiffany saying, it's cute how hard he tries to stay relevant. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to try hard to stay relevant, because by deplatforming him, they're making him more relevant. This is how you get more attention. So it's cute how the government is making him relevant. That's what you should be saying, Tiffany. Josh is saying, we don't like truth, we like social justice. Australia, okay. What Jonathan is saying, Milo shouldn't be allowed to speak anywhere on Earth. Jesus, really? Let alone Australia. Free speech like... okay, so Jonathan is anti-free speech, apparently. Let's see what Jonathan has to say. Jonathan continues saying, free speech, like much of the crap that comes from the so-called West, is an illusion. It's a con game. Wow. Well, Jonathan, you're using your free speech rights to say this. Let's see what Jonathan continues. It's saying, the same classical liberals and right-wing libertarians that tell everybody else that we should strive to not be politically correct and not censor free speech are the first ones to dismiss anything that rubs them the wrong way. Oh my God, Jonathan, dismissing things doesn't mean banning them. You could dismiss anything that you don't want, but as long as you don't ban it, it's fine. You could dismiss things that you don't agree with. It's not the same thing. And then Jonathan,
I don't understand what the problem is with that. Like, we see that a lot, especially on social media and running all the groups that we run. We see a lot of people who see something they don't like, so they therefore think that it should be against the rules, or clearly somebody is trolling. People who have different opinions that you don't like, once they open up the floor to start a conversation on this, this allows you the exact same chance to do the same thing with your thoughts and your beliefs. And if you don't feel like fighting a belief that you don't like, you can always keep moving on. Same thing in life, same thing online. If you don't like something, if it's not harmful but you just don't like it, you can move on. There's no reason that somebody needs to shut up simply because you don't like something.
It's so funny. Okay, Jonathan continues to say, he says, crackpot theories, pseudoscience, this alt-right garbage coming from Milo or anyone misinforming a public audience should never be allowed. Wow, this guy, Jonathan, you're a fascist. You are a fascist. You're an authoritarian fascist. Your views are extremely dangerous. And this is not an alt-right thing. Standing for free speech used to be a liberal value. You are illiberal. I think these people that say these things, they pretend to be on the left or to be liberal, but they are anything but. Jesus Christ, man. Sopan is saying, does Jonathan believe his free speech to bash free speech should be curbed too? I bet not. No, these people really think that, and again, these methods, I like how these people will eventually destroy themselves, because their methods don't work. Like, you think like, well, he shouldn't be allowed to speak. Well, now he's going to become, now he's on the news. I haven't seen Milo on the news for a very long time. Now he's on the news because he's not allowed in Australia. That's a much bigger audience that he's going to get than whatever he was going to get in his tour. So congratulations, you played yourself. Yeah. Do you want to add anything to that?
No.
By the way, and this is not a very good picture of him. He looks like an old grandma. All right. Should we go to the next news? Yes.
Yes. Next news, London mosque attack. Men assault Muslim worshipper with baton and hammer after shouting Islamophobic abuse.
I wish, stop using that word. Anti-Muslim.
Okay, I was actually going to ask you if we can stop using that word, posting it, even if it's used in the title of news articles, because it's giving legitimacy.
Yeah, don't use that word. I mean, don't post. Okay, this was.
Stop it.
Yeah. If you see an article using the word Islamophobe, tell Anna not to post that on Atheist Republic. Use an article that has a title that doesn't use Islamophobe in the title. It's called anti-Muslim bigotry, people. That's the term you need to be using. Anti-Muslim bigotry. Don't use Islamophobe. It makes no fucking sense. Islam should be attacked. Islam should be challenged. Islam should be feared. Okay? Islamophobic, it doesn't make any sense. Don't use that word. And when we say Islamophobic doesn't make any sense, we're not denying the fact that Muslims are wronged in many places. And that's why we tell you to call it what it is. Anti-Muslim bigotry, not Islamophobia. That's not a thing that's not a thing, okay? But go on, Ellie, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's one of those words that just makes me cringe. I hate it. Hours after dozens of people were killed in an attack in 2 mosques in New Zealand, a man was attacked with a hammer and a baton outside of East London Mosque. A group of 3 men shouted Islamophobic abuse as they drove past the place of worship in Cannon Street Road, eyewitnesses said. They called police attending Friday prayers terrorists, and a few worshippers followed the blue car, only for the men to climb out of the vehicle and attack one of them with a weapon thought to be a hammer. Police said the 27-year-old victim sustained head injuries.
Wait, so just randomly... Go on, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, well, so there are people that I've seen outside of this news article questioning the credibility of this news article. So I think that, you know, kind of giving that same warning that you did with the Hebrew cemetery being vandalized, we have to wait until I think we get all the facts on this. If this happened, if this is exactly what happened and why it happened, then, you know, absolutely this is terrible and this is inexcusable. We don't need to be going around attacking people for their beliefs.
No shit.
But there might be a different side to this story.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, but we cover the news the way that it's presented, and we
Right.
with the, you know, but with the understanding that there always might be something to it that we don't know. So just keep that in mind. But yes, as it is reported, this is fucking barbaric. And were these people arrested?
You know, that's a good question. I know that.
So.
Yeah, I know that a lot of eyewitnesses saw this, and it was caught on camera.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they've caught the people who actually did this yet.
Okay, the top comment is actually Richard is saying, what a peaceful... I don't agree with this comment. What a peaceful world it would be without religion. It wouldn't... No, okay, the world would be better without religion. It wouldn't be fucking perfect. A lot of atheist activists try to say that. Like, oh, everything would be, you know, fantastic. The whole world is like this, have this utopian vision about what the world was going to be like without religion. You know, just because you're an atheist activist, that doesn't mean that you have to blame all the world problems on religion. A lot of the world's problems can be blamed on religion, but not all of them. The world will still have... Okay, without religion, the world will still have violence, it will still have greed, it will still have war, it will still have a lot of nonsense in it. There's still, people will still believe in other forms of bullshit, but it would have less violence, it would have less wars, it would have less nonsense, have less bullshit, it would have less misery in it. It will still have misery, but less misery. And the fact that it will have less misery is enough reason for us to be against religion. It doesn't have to be an all or none game for us to be worth talking against. So you don't make something bigger than it actually is. For it, you know, if you're standing against something that is worth standing us actually standing against, don't make that thing the biggest, you know, boogeyman out there. It's not the biggest. As long as you're solving a problem, it's a good thing. It doesn't have to be the world's biggest problem. Kim is saying, I hate this term Islamophobic since it's used as an excuse to criticize an otherwise clearly backward folly religion. However, when abuse such as this happens, it doesn't help to cause no matter who it's done to. I don't know what you're saying, Kim, but I think I agree with you. Again, just use the word anti-Muslim bigotry to refer to stuff like this, which is a real thing, it's a real problem, and needs to be addressed. Just call it what it is. George is saying, imagine no religion. Dan is saying, give the man a medal, please. Holy fuck! Again, this is what this needs to be called out. This is on Atheist Republic. One of the top comments is saying, give the man a medal. I think he's referring to the guy that is trying to beat up Muslims in the street, and Dan thinks that we should give this guy a medal. This is some of the cancerous opinions that we deal with sometimes within the atheist community. Again, it's important to see the comments like this by Dan, because I don't want people to be like, oh, I always sound like, oh, I thought atheists were supposed to be enlightened or smarter or something like that. Well, no, don't assume that, okay? And these comments like these, they need to be here so people can see that. Don't assume that just because we're atheists that everything is, that all our community has more enlightened value. Okay, we have this problem in our own communities as well, and they need to be pointed out, addressed, and we need to deal with it. Okay. So George is saying, let's not sacrifice our civility and moral fiber for justice. I hate religion, but surely anarchy can't be the answer. Well, obviously. I mean, people like that are against Islam Why are you against Islam? Because it promotes violence? Well, now you're promoting violence. So I would be against you for the same reason why I would be against Islam. Did you want to add anything to that, Ali?
No.
Okay. Anyways, that was the last news. So we did that quite fast today. So that was good, right? We went through it.
We did.
All right. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Thank you on Facebook and also on YouTube. Thank you for commenting on this. Again, if you have suggestions for news for us to cover next week, please go on our YouTube channel, find the Atheist Republic News, and just leave a comment under our videos. Ali sometimes checks that out. Dirty Dance is saying Armin takes these comments so literally. Well, I don't know which one you're referring to. Armin, it wouldn't have less of those things you mentioned. It would have one fewer justification for them. No, it would be less. If religion is a tool, and if you take away the tool for violence and misery, it would be less. It would be less, but it wouldn't be completely. It wouldn't be erased. Definitely less. Chrissy saying thank you, Armin and Ali. Yay, thank you, Chrissy.
Thanks, Christy.
Mars saying have a good one, Armin and Ali. Sopan is saying happy belated Atheist Day. Oh, happy Atheist Day to you as well. And happy Atheist Day to everybody in the Facebook live chat as well. We love you all. So, if you would like to support us, links are in the description. And also subscribe to our newsletter. And we see you guys again next week. Bye.
Bye.